So first of all, I want to introduce myself. My name is Rachel, and you've probably seen me around because I've been doing this for a better part of a decade or more. I go by Rage74 on the forums. I have three co-MLs this year that we'll be doing some stuff with. Joanna, who is Line Walker on the forums, will be doing a lot of just forum integrating, a lot of fun things going on just to get your creativity flowing and get more use in the forums itself. Carrie Lauer is Car Lauer 1 on the forums, and she's going to be running some sprints for us. And then Tiffany Sawa, who is in the Zoom today, but I don't remember what her username is on the Nano. She is going to be running some sprints for us too, and some longer write-ins. So that is your team for 2020 NaNoWriMo. Oh, she said her name is Tiffany S. Twisted on the forum. So there we go. Do a brief intro for NaNoWriMo for those of you who haven't participated before or wondering what it is. It is basically a month-long challenge where you strive to write 50,000 words within the month of November. So that's 30 days. Works out to about 1,430 words a day. Good typists with good creativity and flowing can knock that out in about 1 to 2 hours. The creativity part is the harder than the typing part. So what we do is we get together, we used to have in-person write-ins where we get together and write, but we can't do that in 2020. So we'll be doing virtual write-ins where we just get together and work together to get our word count up to where we hit 50K. I think we already have a couple of questions. Noel?
She just asked if the forums are public or if there are links on the library website. So and I answered that the forums are not on the library website, but they are on the Nano website. And you'll talk.
Right, they are the forums. Someone asked if the forums were public and on the Nano website or on the Wichita Library website. No, they're not. They are on the NaNoWriMo website. So if you're not already having a username and password for nanowrimo.org, I do encourage you to go ahead and sign up, and that way you can have access to all of the forums and then also our regional forum and our region, so you can have some more personalized local stuff going on. So I am going to share my screen now. So here is the main page when you come in, and what you will see is actually your information here. That was my last year's novel that you see I did not quite complete. You have badges that you can win. You can find your buddies on there. You can make and find a writing group. You can look for NaNoWriMo HQ events that are coming up. If you're joined in a region right here, this is our events that will pop up, and that's today's event that we're doing right now. So they made a new website last year, and those of you who were part of that last year probably remember we had quite a few problems with it, but they have streamlined a lot of things and made some stuff work better, including the forums. So I'm just going to kind of go through everything that's on this menu bar up here. So under My NaNoWriMo, you have your profile, your stats, your projects, and your buddies. The stats will track your writing progress, useful throughout the month. You'll have bar graphs, pie graphs, where you're doing your most writing, that kind of thing. Your profile will tell people about you. Oh, 12. I've done 12 years actually. It tells me there handily. Look at that. But you can see that I have written, all told during NaNoWriMo, a little over 500,000 words. So go me, I guess. But anyway, you have an about, you can list your favorite books and favorite authors here if you want. This shows you your most recent project. Also, anyone who looks you up will see all of this information. The next, I'll just show you the stats really quickly. Obviously, I haven't written anything today in NaNoWriMo, but this has your aim line right here, which is what you're going for to hit 50K by the end of the month. You can see I kind of crapped out about day 25. Just said, no, I'm not going to do it. But it'll show you how many words you added each day. Over here, it actually tells me when I write the most. Obviously, in the evening between 8 and 9 p.m. This is your daily word count bar graph, so you can see how far up and down you've been going, where you're writing, your average word count, when you'll finish, et cetera, et cetera. So that is there. This is projects, and this is where, if you haven't already, you will start your new project. So this has all of my projects, including Camp NaNoWriMo for the past couple of years. You can see the ones where I've won and the ones where I totally didn't win. But we're just going to go, I'm going to announce my new project. So my new project is called Raven in the Writing Desk. And it's going to be in prepping status, but you can change that to in progress, drafted, completed, and published if you like. You can change the privacy setting, only me, buddies, or public. I will leave mine at public. You can say it's a novel, short stories, memoir, script, whatever, just going to be a novel. And then oh, it's because I couldn't see that. And then you list your genre. You can do a project summary and that kind of thing. I need to move this out of the way. There we go. But then I save my project. And now it appears right over here in my new projects. And as I complete words starting November 1st, my little scroll bar here will scroll up to hopefully 50K. Writing buddies are really good to have. You can chat with each other, support each other, and you can basically go to buddies. And here you see all of my buddies are listed. All the people over the years, but all the way at the bottom, you can find buddies, and you'll click on that and you'll just find their name, but you can also add them from the forum page, or from the regional page, I should say. So the second part of the website here is the community menu. And this is, so forums is the very first thing, and that is where all of the discussion happens. But I'm going to skip that and go to the region first. So if you haven't already found a region or joined a region, you can find one here. But this is our home region, the USA, Kansas, Wichita region. And this is what the page looks like. So I have a link right here to the regional forum, to Wichita's regional forum, right there, very handy for you, for everyone. It's also over here in the left-hand menu bar, and our region calendar is listed there. So that's going to be a Google Calendar, and you can just click on that, and all of the events will be shown there in a calendar format with links to each of the online events that will be happening. So move this thing back over here. The events tab will show you what events are upcoming. I mean, this is obviously today's, but I will have all of the monthly events listed both here and on our region Facebook page, which you can get to from the Facebook link over here on the left-hand side as well. So if you're ever curious about, what's coming up and how to get to it, all of them will be in here. You can submit events for approval by yourself if you want to have your own little private writing party and want to invite other Nano people to join. Just a reminder though, that they all have to be online. There are no live events happening this year in Wichita, or anywhere really. So now the fun stuff, the forums. So we have our own regional forum, and we also have, there's an overarching Nano forum. And when you go to forums in general, this is where you get. Now, they have streamlined this quite a bit. So as you can see here, they have muted all of the region forums by default, but you can go in and unmute them so you can see them. You can look at ours, you can look at many others, but you won't see the Municipal Liaisons Hub. But there are also general other forums that are just available for anything. There's an official announcements forum where you can look and see what's officially going on. If you have some tech problems with the website, feel free to join in there. All Ages Coffee House is there. You can basically just go in for chatting. If anyone is a newbie, you are certainly welcome to join in there. And then there are some other forums. But what you can do is look at your muted categories, and here's everything that's muted, and you can just go through, there's dozens and dozens and dozens of forums. Look at that. So this is where you would actually find our regional forum, or just find it on the through our region page. And I am going to actually go there right now. This is a lot easier to do it this way. Region forum, the little link right here. Opens it up in a separate tab for us. So here we are, and here is basically all of the stuff that we've been chatting about. You see we've got our first ever secret NaNoWriMo survival gift exchange. We've been talking about that a bit on Facebook, but that is still up. And I've got the link there if you want to sign up for that. We will have something we call Poke of the Day starting on November 1st. Every day from our Poke box, we will draw a card, which includes a hint, and we will post that. We'll post it here on the forums. We'll post it in the Facebook region page as well, so that if you're ever stuck, you can just go and, oh, I've got a poke that I can use for the day. And then we have our introductions thread. Which is basically drop in, say hi, tell us about you, tell us about what you're working on. And then there's going to be more stuff going on here. Feel free to start your own threads if you have questions, or if there's something you want to talk about, or if you need help. And Joanna, as I said, is going to be doing a lot of stuff on this region forum here, with just stuff to keep you motivated and kind of get you through this very crazy month that it's going to be. But there we go. The last page on the menu is the writer's resources. So Camp Nano is always found there, but you can do that at any time if you want, or in July, I think is when it happens. Nano Prep has ways to get you going for the big event. We're going to go have a look at that. Whoop. So this is sort of a course outline that you could go through. It started way back in September, but you can certainly read through these if you're more of a prepper than a pantser. You can download the handbook. You can get some, there's prepping and outlining forums. And for the Young Writers Program, they have their own prep forum as well. This is kind of what our regional calendar is going to look like. Doesn't have quite the same events, but this is NaNoWriMo HQ's official calendar. And we have some awesome things. We have a Zoom background. We've got a Square badge for Facebook. We've got a Facebook banner, a Twitter banner. There's a calendar you can print off. So a lot of cool stuff there. And these were the guest people for this year. You can visit their website and see what they have to say about participating in NaNoWriMo. And pep talks. This is just another fun thing to get you motivated and keep you sort of in the mood to write and get your creativity. So we've got some old ones from 2019 showing up there. These are more current ones, but you can just check those out, and they'll add more as November goes along. So any questions regarding the NaNoWriMo website or forums?
So we don't have any questions in the chat. I want to remind everyone you can post your questions in the chat, and I'll pass them on to Rachel. But I have a question. You mentioned that the Poke a Day.
Yes.
I think maybe we'd like to hear what's a poke? What are you talking about?
Well, a poke. So this is the mini poke box that comes in the giant poke box, and it's just cards that have random writing hints or things for you to add to your novel. So if you're stuck, you're like, I don't know where to go from here. You say, hey, you can ask me for a poke. You can ask anyone for a poke. You can just look at the poke of the day. But here in the poke of the day, the main character dreams that they are late to work. That's worth a couple thousand words, I think. Let's see what another one is. There is someone eats a pizza. Well, you could certainly describe the issue that I had last night at Little Caesars where I had to wait 45 minutes for my pizza. A celestial croquet game. So these are just random weird things that are just used to sort of kickstart your story, get you past that momentary writer's block where you're just sitting there and staring at the screen. It doesn't matter if, you know, you're writing a gritty downtown hard-bitten crime novel and you get the celestial croquet game poke. You know, you can fit it in or you can just work with it. I mean, if I was writing a hard-bitten crime novel and I drew the celestial croquet game card, I might, you know, have my main character, I don't know, pass out after drinking 2 bottles of vodka and has like some serious dreams. So, you know, it's just a way to kind of move you past that, that moment of, I don't know where I'm going with this, and I still have another 900 words to meet my goal today.
Thank you.
All right. Okay. So now I'm going to talk a little bit about what we're going to look like in 2020. I mean, as you know, 2020, it's crazy. With COVID-19 and places having, you know, lots of problems, and, you know, Wichita's not doing so hot right now. But NaNoWriMo HQ basically decided that we would not be doing any live events. They're not condoning them. And they've basically said, if you do them, you're on your own, we're not responsible. So we here in Wichita decided, well, we're not going to do any live events either. We're going to do everything online. So everything this year is going to be virtual. We will be doing Zoom-ins instead of write-ins, which will all be by Zoom. They'll be 2 or 3 hours in length. These would be the ones that were very much akin to our, oh, we're meeting at Panera Bread, oh, we're meeting at, you know, Reverie Coffee or whatever, but they'll be by Zoom. And we're not going to just, you know, log in and write, you know, we'll be, you know, every, you know, half hour during it, we're just going to do a check-in. Hey guys, everyone okay? You know, take a minute, stretch, get up, whatever. We will also be doing sprints on Discord. And that one is just going to be pure writing for very short bursts. It will be no video, no sound, just all chat box in the Zoom, or in the Discord. But there is a feature in our Discord with WriterBot that allows us to run sprints where it tracks how many words people are writing and displays it, and tracks your writing progress and your progress on whatever it is you're working on. And so we'll be doing quite a few of those, and those are just going to be, you can pop in and join at any time. They'll run for probably about 2 hours each when we do those, and they'll be kind of interspersed throughout the month. We do have some big events scheduled, and these are going to be kind of major, like bigger than your write-ins. So we do have our midnight kickoff. Kicks off about 11 p.m. on Halloween night, so October 31st. We'll check in with everyone, make sure we're all settled, you know, blah, blah, blah. And at midnight, the buzzer goes off and we write frantically for several hours. We'll probably leave the Zoom up for about 3 hours since it is a weekend, and maybe we can, you know, stay up a little bit later than we would if we had to go to work the next day. But we will do that as we always have been, but it will be virtual. And then if any of you veteran NaNoWriMo people remember that NaNoWriMo used to do a night of writing dangerously, a live event in San Francisco at a hotel where they would write all night long. We are going to do our own version of that, the night of writing ridiculously. And that's going to be starting on Saturday, November 14th, about 9 o'clock, and going till the wee hours of the morning that Sunday. Then we will be doing a Black Friday blackout write-in. It's going to be Friday afternoon, the day after Thanksgiving. So instead of Black Friday, we are going to play blackout bingo while we write. and you'll see more stuff coming on that as we put that up on the Facebook page. Last weekend, we will have home stretch marathon write-ins, which will be pretty long, like we're talking 6 or 7 hours at least, that are just to pop in and write and, you know, participate as you can. And then we will do Manic Monday on November 30th, which is we will be doing a lot of sprints, a lot of, you know, getting through that final thing. If you haven't reached 50K, let's make that push and get out there. So any questions on the events?
I have a question.
Yes.
Again.
Yes.
You mentioned Discord. I have seen mention of Discord. I don't know what Discord really is. And how do you get onto it? Do you have to be invited to it?
No, you can log in yourself. So yeah, and I have not actually put in, I don't think I've put the Discord link in our home region. And of course, I don't remember the login. Yeah, no, I didn't. It is, well, let me just.
Where will this link be when we're ready to find it?
Ah, well, I'm going to put it over here.
Great.
But you will also be able to find it in any of the events.
Mm-hmm.
So like this is the event for today's thing. And if you recall, you have in here, there's the whole little thing. And then there's, there was the link up here to sign up. So the link will be the Discord link to our Discord, because we have our own Discord server, will be in all of the events that we are running on Discord specifically. And then I will also put it in over here in the links on the regional page. Because that's actually something new they added, is having those additional links on there. We didn't have that last year, so. But it's, let me see if I can just get to it and you can kind of see. So you can download for Windows, or you can open it in your browser. Oh, well, I don't want to have to log in, but let me see if I can find. Oh, I know how to do it. We'll have some images here. I know they'll have some images for us. This is what Discord server actually looks like. It looks like a big, giant chat box type of thing. Go away. There we go. So you have you can have all kinds of different breakout rooms or breakout servers on here, other channels, but it basically just kind of looks like the old IRC chat boxes with, you know, a bunch of people in chatting about different things. But there are some bots that have been written for different Discord channels. And one of them we have, it's called WriterBot. And it allows us, we have some commands where we can do sprints, and we can set the sprints for any length of time that we want, 5 minutes up to, you know, we could do an hour sprint, but sprints are supposed to be short. And it will actually log your progress if you're joined into that sprint as we're doing it. And it has some other features where you can actually, this is an advertisement. It has some other features where you can put a project into the Discord server. You can start and that's where you can track and you can update your word count on there, just to show everyone on the Discord server where you're at and what you're doing, as well as updating it there. So we will have in our Discord, we already have like links at the top that tell you how to use a lot of the different features, especially the WriterBot feature. So it's a platform that's been becoming much, much more popular in the NaNoWriMo community. We only started ours last year for the first time. So we're all kind of, you know, not really Discord pros, but it's a very easy platform to use once you're in, even if you're just chatting with people about stuff.
Thank you. I'm gonna step a little bit closer so I can use your mic.
Yes.
While Rachel is talking, I want to invite everyone who's participated in Nano in the past to type into the chat box and tell us what are your favorite techniques for getting past writer's block. The reason I'm bringing that up, Kristen Moody made a comment about the poke box that even if you get a weird poke that doesn't fit your story, you can still write it and get the word count and then go back and fix it later. What do you do? So tell us what you do, and then we will share that information with the whole group at the end of the program. So thank you, Rachel.
Yes, that sounds very exciting. I'll talk a little bit about what I do for writer's block, especially during NaNoWriMo, because it is such a hard and fast and you have such a crazy deadline. If I'm stuck, I literally go do something else. You know, I'm going to get up, I'm going to go clean the bathroom. I'm going to get up, I'm going to go read a book. I'm going to get up and I'm going to write something different. I'm going to go and, you know, decide to write some stupid fan fiction or something just for 5 or 10 minutes. And sometimes just doing that gets that little brain going and you're like, oh yeah, this is how I can actually resolve this issue, or this is where I can move forward in my other story. So sometimes just not sitting there and staring at your screen, but get up and go do something, even just go to bed. Because sometimes while you're sleeping, your little subconscious is going to solve that problem for you and you'll wake up in the morning going, oh yeah, that's totally how I do it. But it looks like we have quite a few comments coming in, so.
Yeah, so let's see. Anne says she takes a walk. Joan takes a walk. Carrie mentions that you can skip the scene that you're stuck on.
That's a very good one, skipping the scene.
Yeah, just put a note in that you're going to come back to it later and then just move on, get past it.
Yeah, I've done that before where I've just literally been like, I don't know exactly how they're going to do this, whatever it is they're doing. So it's just like, they did the thing somehow. And then I just move on to the next chapter, scene. Okay, they got through that. Now we're over here. Now we're doing this thing. And I can always go back and worry about it later. And if I don't, no big deal, as long as I hit 50K, right?
Kristen Moody says, here's what I do. I just write. I write anything. It doesn't have to be good or even relevant. I find that I write myself into the right direction.
Another good one.
And Avery, who also goes by Amy, or maybe she prefers Avery. Sometimes I swap point of view or try writing a scene from the antagonist's point of view. That's a good idea.
That's a very good idea. I actually did a, no, it was just a fan fiction. It was really dumb, but it was a number of years ago. And I actually went ahead and rewrote the entire thing from somebody else's point of view, just because I thought it would be fun. And it was a lot of fun. And you remembered like a lot of things that you weren't able to like maybe explain, but you could put them in the other side. So excellent suggestion.
And Seti adds, yes, fight scene needed is for future me to worry about.
Yes, indeed.
I like things that future me can worry about.
Yeah, I don't want to worry about current me. All right, well, we've kind of only been here for 30 minutes, but we're kind of gone through everything. Before I just kind of get to some final reminders, are there any general questions?
Oh, Arthur has another good comment.
Ooh.
He says, if I'm not sure how to write a scene, I write the scene multiple times. After November, which I assume you get to count all that work.
Oh, yes, you do. If you write that scene from 3 different points of view or in 3 different ways, all of those words count.
And then he says after November, he keeps the version he likes best and he deletes the others.
That is a wonderful suggestion.
Kristen wants to know, did you mention the traveling shovel of death?
I did not.
I would remember that.
No, I didn't. So I should mention the traveling shovel of death. So this is a global thing. I think in NaNoWriMo terms, it's almost a meme at this point, but the traveling shovel of death or doom, whichever one you choose to call it, is it appears in most regions, kind of their hint box or their version of the poke box or whatever. But it is a shovel that conveniently appears in your story and is used to kill someone, after which it mysteriously vanishes, presumably to go off to the next writer's novel and kill off their main character. And in the NaNoWriMo forums, the main forums themselves, they do have a dedicated Traveling Shovel of Doom forum where you can post the scenes in which the shovel appears. and receive comment and discussion from other users. So a couple years ago, I actually did my novel was the story of the traveling shovel of death. And it was basically the, how it came to be and what it was. And it was a lot of fun, except I kind of got tired of killing off characters. So, but it is in our poke box. It may or may not show up in one of the daily pokes, just depends on the randomness of the cards. But you're also free to use it. If you're stuck, hook up the shovel of death and just whack someone. And sometimes that's the impetus you need to get, another couple thousand words out of it. I remember an anecdote by another NaNoWriMo participant a number of years ago who was, it was in the last week and she had like 10,000 words, but she said, my story's done. I don't have anything else to do. And her husband said, why don't you kill off the main character? That's probably good for 10,000 words. And she was like, you know what? You're right. And she did. And it was. So, don't be so attached to anything that if you're like, I need another 2,000 words to hit 50K, kill someone off. You can get 2,000 words out of a funeral, I'm sure.
So I'm trying to get my mouse to scroll here properly. It wants to jump. We had a question and I can't seem to get back to it, but is there a way where you can post your work where someone will look at it in an unbiased way? Writer feedback. What's the best way to go about that? Or do you even do that during November?
Well, I wouldn't do it during November because your goal in November is not to write necessarily good words. Your goal is to write words. The more, the better, obviously. And, it's quantity over quality here, guys. So I certainly wouldn't be soliciting any feedback on your novel during November. And in fact, that little thing in your head called the inner editor, which tells you that you didn't put that comma in the right place, you fool, is something that you will need to get rid of for the month of November. The inner editor is a good thing to have when you're revising and when you're prepping for possible publication, but it's not so hot to have during November. So we are going to do a inner editor appreciation day this Thursday, and then, this Friday, I'm sorry, October 30th. And then on Saturday, October 31st, it is inner editor banishment day. So that is the day that we officially tell our inner editor to get out, go find an Airbnb somewhere else away from me and leave me alone, and you can come back December 1st. So, but after November, if you want to have someone critique your work, there's a number here locally of writers groups that do critiques. You could also just ask in the regional forum if anyone is interested in doing a critique swap, which we could certainly arrange something like that if people wanted to. But if you look for it in the general overall Nano forums, I think there's probably some places in there where people do offer to do critiques and things like that. So I just wouldn't do it in November. Your goal is words, not good ones.
SETI points out that a good way to defeat the inner editor is to turn off spell check and grammar check so you don't see those red and green lines. I will also add, I've heard of people actually, it maybe doesn't work so well on a monitor or on a laptop, but on a desktop, you can turn off your monitor and just type, or maybe tape a piece of paper over your screen so you can't see what you're typing. Just get those words out there. Yeah,
there's also some features that you can use. There's some other websites that, like, there was one, I can't remember the name of it now, but I'm sure I'll post it in the forums when I find it. But basically, if you're typing in it and you stop for a certain length of time, it'll start deleting your words. And it's just a good kind of motivation to keep you writing, even if you're literally just stream of consciousing, oh, I don't know what I'm doing here. I want a cup of coffee. I got to go, but I need another 20 more words before I can, here, I can take this out now.
Kristen Moody says that's write or die.
Write or die, yes.
I find that terrifying.
It is a little terrifying. But if you are just like, I can't get motivated and you need someone to whack you in the head, but we can't do that because it's COVID and I'd have to come over to your house. Write or die is a very good way to boost that word count a little bit.
And SETI mentions that you can also change the font color on your screen. I think you can change your font to white.
You can change your font to white so you can't see it. you know, those are all some good ways, but largely you just kind of have to get in the mindset of, I don't care that it's not perfect. It doesn't have to be perfect.
Yeah,
In fact, it's better it's not.
When you do want it to be perfect, when November is over, Avery mentioned that there is a section of the NaNoWriMo forums called Novel Draft Aftercare. It's good tips and such for editing and post-nano revision. So thank you, Avery.
Yes, thank you for that, because I have not delved much into the forums since last year.
Okay, Tiffany pointed out there's a link to our Facebook. Oh, Tiffany has added a link to the NaNoWriMo Facebook page. So if you're on Facebook, you can click the link that Tiffany just posted in the chat to join that page.
Yeah.
And that's a great page. They post things. I'm on that page. They post things all through November. They post things. You guys post around when things
we post with a lot of stuff. People find things like, I think earlier this year I posted, there was like how to write a D&D campaign in 30 days. It was a type nano thing. And I posted that on, a couple of us actually did it. It was really kind of interesting. But if we find memes about writing or jokes, writers conferences that are happening or just articles that are interesting, we're posting on there a lot. All of our events will be on the Facebook page as well. But of course they will also be on the Nano site. If you don't use Facebook, you're still good. But if you do use Facebook, we do encourage you to come and join us.
Tiffany also added the Discord link. So if anybody wants to favorite that Discord link, that is also in the chat.
Good deal.
I think that's the comments that I have right now. What other comments do people have? Questions, comments, advice, fears?
I know it sounds scary, but it's really not.
So it's 10,000 words a day. I almost said 10,000 pages a day.
No, it's 1,427 words, I think.
30,000 words.
It's 50,000 in the month. Yeah. So.
We're going for 50,000?
50,000, yes.
Why did I think it was 30,000?
I don't know, it's 50.
I don't know why I thought that. Maybe that was, is that the kids?
I think the Young Writers does 30.
That's probably it.
So, but no, official NaNoWriMo is 50,000 words. And just to give you an idea of what that size is, Catcher in the Rye, the novel, is about 50,000 words. So it's not a terribly long novel. It's more like a novella type of thing. But that kind of gives you an idea of the length of what it would look like, what those number of words look like. I mean, I've done it for probably 7 out of 10 years. So
Kristen wanted to, first of all, several people chimed in with 1,667 because.
Oh, is it 160? Yes, it is. I can't math today.
I thought it was 10,000. Kristen wanted to know if we're going to talk about what we plan on writing today. It's not a great situation for chat. If you want to put what you're writing into the chat, we can definitely go through as many as we have time.
We can. We usually will have a dedicated, what are you working on thread in the regional forum. And I need to get that put up there. So and that works a little better for kind of chat communication. But yeah, if you you saw what I was working on. It's called Raven in the Writing Desk. It's not Alice in Wonderland, sort of, not really. No, it's an Edgar Allan Poe type thing. So we will see how it goes, but post it in the chat and we'll kind of see, because maybe someone else has an idea that you're like, that's really cool. I bet I could do something like that.
What else? So what's going on with the gift exchange?
Oh, the gift exchange. Yes. I was going to talk about that under reminders here, but we can do it now. So we did mention it. But yes, the secret Rimo gift exchange. So this was actually Kristen Moody's idea, and we thought it was great, and we were going to run with it. But we are doing basically like a Secret Santa type of thing. The link is on the regional forums as well as on the Facebook page. You do need to sign up through the Google Doc that is on there. And the deadline for signing up is Monday. That's October 26th. At midnight. That's when the forum will close down. And then on Tuesday, the 27th, I'm going to randomly assign everyone who has signed up their secret Rimo. And you're going to, when you get your assigned Rimo, you're going to send them a survival kit for Nano. And it could be, you know, a notebook and pen with some tea, maybe a candle, you know, anything that you think they might appreciate, kind of given their likes and dislikes that they kind of wrote, that they kind of mentioned in the form, to help them get through 2020 Nano, because it's going to be a little crazy. And we will have a dedicated thread in the regional forum so people can show off their secret NaNoWriMo gifts that they receive. You can order it from Amazon and have it shipped to their house. You can take it to the post office and mail it yourself. If your NaNoWriMo agrees, you could even drop it on their porch. However you want to get it to them is fine, as long as they get it in the month of November. Anything else?
No questions are coming up. What other questions do people have, or advice? I love hearing advice from different writers. Everybody has different ideas about how to get through the month. And I get so many good ideas for how to get through my semester or how to get through my job.
Yeah. One of the things is schedule a time to write. You know how they say that, like, you know, if you don't schedule like date night with your husband or whatever, your wife, you know, your relationship can fall by the wayside because you're busy with kids and work and stuff like that. Well, you need to schedule time for your relationship with your novel. And so even if you say, all right, family, roommates, whatever, I am going to be locked in my room, office, whatever, from 6 to 8 p.m. every evening writing, you know, do not knock on the door unless you are on fire, type of thing, but carve that time out, make it there for you, and then just work on that solely during that time. Don't let anyone else distract you. Don't agree to go to dinner. Don't do anything else. Just, those are my writing hours, and do it. I take my laptop to work and I write on lunch. And that's another good way to get, you know, if I can get 600 words in or so while I'm eating a sandwich. So that's another good option, but make the time. You have to, it's just for a month. You can, you know, you can skip the laundry once a week. You can skip the dusting occasionally. It's still going to be there when December 1 rolls around.
Can you tell us a little bit? We don't know anything about who necessarily know who's in this program with us. We may have people who are under 18. Do you know of any information about the Young Writers Program and how it differs from the adult program? I am not as familiar with YWP as I probably should be. And I know that this year in particular, it was looking very, very differently, because they did really rely on going into the schools and having classrooms. And there were teachers who would get their classrooms involved, and that's just kind of not really going to be able to happen this year. But people that are doing the Young Writers Program have smaller events. They have smaller goals to reach. I think that's where the 30,000 comes from, is that they try to work towards that. But it's for those of you that are under 18, you can, in fact, let's just see if we can find it here, since I am still sharing my screen. Well, I don't see. It might be on here. Or if anybody in the audience knows where on the page the link for Young.
Yeah, it is not on here. Someone is saying.
Oh, Drew has some comments too.
Yeah, see, the only thing is I can only search for users. I can't actually search for.
What is it called though? Young,
it's YWP, Young Writers Program.
Okay. So if you are interested specifically in that, you can probably search Young Writers Program and get to what you need.
Probably, I mean.
But if.
Yeah.
But the Wichita NaNoWriMo community would welcome young writers as well, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah, we strive to be an all ages type thing. ywp.nanowrimo.org. There it is.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, they have their own separate website, how it's about it, how it works.
Do they have their own?
They have their own website and own login.
Okay.
So you sign at the Young Writers and then go through your profile. There's a whole list of how it goes. And they have a lot of the same tools that we do. They do word sprints. They have the Dare machine, which is kind of like our poke box. And then once you're actually writing it in their forum, I think, in their website, it looks like here, and then you can download a PDF of it when you're done. So very kind of interesting.
And I will just give a shout out to our teen librarian, is Sarah Moselle. She has actually participated in NaNoWriMo herself. So if there is anybody in our audience today who wants to talk with Sarah, I know she would be thrilled to do that. So come on into the library and ask for Sarah Moselle, and she'll chew your ear off about that.
Good deal.
So Drew's comment, he says, I have in the past been conquered by writer's block. I've been pre-planning the nuts and bolts of my novel using the snowflake method this year. I feel like the big things that get in the way are now going to be reduced to speed bumps. RandyIngermanson.com is where I found it. Highly recommended if you deal, he says, scratch that. www.ingermanson.com is the website. But he highly recommends it if you deal with the writer's block. So do you know what the snowflake method is? Because I don't.
He told me about it.
Tell us
Can you
more.
spell it for me so I can go look at it?
Snowflake, SNOWFLAKE.
There we go.
Just pop there.
So how to write a novel using the snowflake method. So let's see. So here, this is what is called a snowflake fractal. It's actually a mathematical object that has been studied very widely, but they're just going to use it as a cool snowflake. And then if you scroll down, this is what your first few steps look like. So you start with a triangle, and then you move to the star, and then you move to the, I don't know, is that like a throwing knife of some kind, possibly?
No,
And then then there's the snowflake. So let's see. 10 steps of design, yeah. So step one in this 10 steps is take an hour and write a 1-sentence summary of your novel. So their thing is a rogue physicist travels back in time to kill the Apostle Paul. Okay.
Okay.
I'm sure Paul deserved it.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But okay.
So shorter is better. No character names, better just to say a handicapped trapeze artist rather than Jane. You want to tie together the big picture and the personal picture. So you want to know like which character has the most to lose in this story. And in his example, that would clearly be Paul. And they also suggest to look at the one-line blurbs on the New York Times bestseller list. Writing a 1-sentence description is an art form, and I do have to probably agree with that. So then it says, take another hour and expand that sentence to a full paragraph. Describes the setup, major disasters, and the ending. This is the second stage. They like to structure a story as 3 disasters plus an ending. Each of the disasters takes a quarter of the book to develop, and the ending takes a final quarter. That's kind of like the 3-act structure. So the 2 above steps give you the high-level view of your novel. Now you do something similar for the storylines of each of your characters. And this is probably going to be very helpful if you have characters like I do that just tend to run off and go do their own thing. But you have the name, a sentence summary of the character storyline, what their motivation is, what's their goal, what conflict is there, what's preventing them from reaching the goal, what will the character learn. So basically just flesh out each of the characters. And again, it doesn't have to be perfect. This is just sort of a design process. And by stage 4, you should have a good idea of what your large scale structure of your novel is going to look like. And it's only been a day or 2 or a week, it doesn't really matter. But they're saying that at this point, if your story is broken, the original idea, you know it now rather than, you know, at the end of November when you're like, well, this sucks. Or the end of just writing in general. So then step 5 is to take a day or two and write up a 1-page description of each major character and a half-page description of the other characters. These should tell the story from the point of view of each character. And then step 6 says, by now you have a solid story and several story threads, one for each character. You take the next week and expand the one-page plot synopsis of the novel to a 4-page synopsis. Basically, you're expanding each of the paragraphs from step 4 into a full page. And if you see how we're doing this, this is sort of a fractal thing. We're just growing out and branching, and by doing so, we're making it larger. So in the step 7, you expand your character description into full-fledged character charts detailing everything there is to know. We're talking birth date, history, etc., all the stuff. By step 8, you may or may not take a hiatus here and wait for your book to sell. No, you've got to write the novel first, but to get that first draft easier, take that 4-page synopsis that you completed in the previous steps, make a list of all of the scenes that you need to turn the story into a novel from beginning to end. And they suggest using a spreadsheet to do that. I've done the note card type of thing where you have them a stack and you can actually lay them out and organize them in different ways. It's kind of helpful. And then the step 9, they're basically going back to the word processor and writing a narrative description of the story. But basically what you're doing is you're taking the basic one line, you're just expanding and expanding out and expanding out. And as you continue to expand, you get more and more words and fleshing out your story. So I have not ever tried this method myself. I'm more of a pantser than a plotter, so I'm not entirely sure if I would do this one very well, but if you want to, it's certainly a good method to try and, you know, plan out your novel.
So, and we are approaching the end of the program, but Avery says that they highly recommend trying out different methods of outlining or pantsing for anyone. It took me a handful of tries to figure out which method works best for me. So quickly, what is the difference between outlining and pantsing? Did we talk about pantsing?
We didn't really talk about pantsing.
What is that?
Pantsing is a term, basically you're writing by the seat of your pants. You have no prep, you have nothing really. Maybe you don't even have a title. In fact, I recall my first NaNoWriMo 12 years ago, Amy, literally said, I'm just going to start writing and see what comes out. She had absolutely no clue what she was going to do, and she reached 50K. So you can certainly do it by just, you know, sitting down and letting the ideas flow. I've done that before, but a planner, this would be someone who's using something like the snowflake method or an outline. They are getting everything ready ahead of time. They know the main story arc. They know each of their characters. They know what they're going to do, where they're going to go, how it's going to get there. They have the scenes already laid out. So they're really kind of approaching it like they make their blueprint before they actually start building it. You know, measure twice, cut once kind of people. But most people, I think, are kind of more in the middle. I'm certainly a middle plantser, as it were. I don't rigorously plan out my stuff, but I certainly have a vague notion of what I'm doing. I mean, you can see I already have a title for mine this year, and I have an idea as where it's going to go, but a lot of times mine just go in very different directions, and that's okay, because it's all about the process.
Well, thank you so much, Rachel, for coming in today. If you want to unshare your screen, I want to share my screen quickly. And what I want to show you, I really appreciate everyone who attended the program today. And I am sharing my screen because I want to show you where we would like you to fill out the evaluation for the program. This is the link that was included in your email. And this is where you came to join the meeting. But then if you scroll down past that, we have our program survey. And we would love it if you would please fill out that survey. We do read those carefully and we take into account what they say. And I really appreciate everyone who came in, and I will appreciate everyone who fills out that survey.
Yes,
Rachel, thank you so much.
you are welcome.
Is it okay to tell writers good luck? Like with actors, you're supposed to say break a leg. Can you tell writers good luck or break a leg? Or,
I think that most writers during NaNoWriMo, it's don't ever use your delete key.
never use your delete
Yep.
key. May your fountain pen never run out of ink. May your keyboard not get stuck.
May the words be ever in your favor.
Yes, may the words be ever in your favor. Thank you so much for joining us today.
And we look to see you all at the midnight kickoff on October 31st.
Thank you, Rachel.
Thank you.